What is up, everybody? It's your boys back again with another episode of Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. Please be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe to the video and the channel. It really helps us grow in the YouTube universe. So today we're going to play Who's the Number One? And we're going to talk about certain players in certain offenses. It's going to be great. Stick around. Let us know who you think's the number one is when we cover said thing, or if we left someone out, post it in the comments. I'm sure Ray for sure will answer in about 7.276 seconds. So yeah, see, look at him. He already knows he's going to answer your question. So just let us know what you guys think in the comments below. You guys want to just jump straight into news and notes?
Let's do it.
I sure the hell do.
Okay, let's get it.
Brennan, please
Take it away.
take us off.
All right. So obviously yesterday, that would be Tuesday for July 11th, Alvin Kamara has agreed to plead guilty to a lesser misdemeanor charge for his alleged role in 2022 Vegas fight. I like how they said alleged when there's videos of him just beating the crap out of the dude.
Well,
Don't you wish that, like,
allegedly.
Don't you wish that you could just go around, the downtown streets of Vegas, wherever this actually happened? I think it was in Vegas.
It was in
And
Vegas.
just bludgeon a man half to death and not get a felony. Don't
You want to know a
wish?
secret? Do you want to know a secret? You can
What's
if
that?
you have money.
It's true.
This is
And
true.
Alvin Kamara had enough money to pay somebody else to beat that man within an inch of his life. Beat that man like
I don't
a
think it
Cherokee
was
drum.
that.
I don't know if
far.
it was that bad, but he did
Did you
get
see-
jumped. I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah, he got his
We
ass
got a
whipped.
clip of that? We got a clip of that somewhere? Can
No,
we splice that in?
we're not clipping anything.
We're not clipping that in.
Thanks, but no thanks, Ray.
So my question to you guys: so DraftKings has his betting line for suspension games actually at 3.5.
I'm taking the over at 4.
Okay.
I think 6, just because the NFL really wants to crack down on it. They've been pretty stringent on these suspensions lately. I think 6.
I think he gets 2. I think he doesn't miss much. So, again, the suspension will probably come, if I had to guess, probably August, because now the NFL's going to do their own investigation. It's going to go through some time, but they will hand it out before the week 1, that is for sure. So, the next news and notes today, Wednesday, July 12th, DeAndre Hopkins odds boosted from plus 450 to minus 300 for the Tennessee Titans.
You heard it
You
here
guys
first.
know?
Last
Yep.
episode.
You heard it here first, like 2 months ago. That's when you really heard it. 'Cause I do believe I said, quote, I think
Find the
DeAndre
video
Hopkins-
or no proof.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is this year's Julio Jones. I think it was a hot take.
That doesn't mean he's going to Tennessee.
And I do think I said he was going to Tennessee.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think
I mean, look at what Tennessee did to Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, who people forget that he was also there, and Julio. It's crazy. It's where
I
receivers
still
go
think
to
he can be
die.
a wide receiver too. I think even regardless of being there, he can still be a wide receiver too. I think it's not an issue with, and everyone will draft accordingly, but I think at the end of the day, he can still put up wide receiver 2 numbers with Ryan Tannehill as quarterback.
So, Brendan, let me paint a picture for you here.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tannehill gets benched because they want to see what they got in Will Levis, or he gets hurt and Malik
Willis.
Malik Willis.
Willis.
Yes.
Yes,
Willis.
correct.
Will
Yes.
Levis, Malik Willis.
Yes.
You're
That's a
saying it
tongue-
correctly.
That's a tongue twister. Let's say one of those two guys are starting. Does that move the needle for you on DeAndre Hopkins?
Will
And then the
Levis.
Hooper.
Well, Malik Willis, it's in the crapper for sure. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
He just I'm sorry. I watched a couple of games. The fact they brought in Josh Dobbs and someone who didn't know the playbook over Malik Willis said a lot. Granted, he could grow and be better going into this season. It doesn't sound like it because they drafted Will Levis with higher capital. I think with Will Levis, he's going to be a gunslinger, so he'll push the ball down the field more. So I don't know. With Will Levis, it doesn't really change it. I still think he will have his games, but with rookie quarterbacks starting, wide receivers typically don't do well.
All I heard from that is Brendan loves Will Levis.
Yes.
That's
You
all I heard
it,
from that.
dude.
I will
Love the
say,
guy.
Josh, for coming in and not knowing anything, Josh Dobbs looked good.
Yes,
For knowing
Mike-
nothing.
it just comes down to Mike Vrabel being a very good coach.
I agree.
So, and then the
I
last bit of
agree.
news is Saquon Barkley has made it clear today that the franchise tag is undesirable and told reporters week 1 is in jeopardy.
well, this franchise tag is desirable. You guys want this, so hit that like and share and subscribe. But
That's
that
fair.
franchise tag kind of sucks.
The NFL franchise tag. Franchise tag fantasy football.
Yeah,
Two thumbs.
Yeah, oh yeah, 2 thumbs. Wish I had 4 thumbs.
Yes, this is a big piece of news. Pay attention to both Saquon and Josh Jacobs because they have both put out in the air their distaste and displeasure for being put on the franchise tag and not having new deals. I did see a piece of news today that Bijan Robinson is making $1.5 million more than the next closest running back.
Yes, he's making
Next closest running back.
$13.7 million in total cash this season as a rookie.
Yes.
Which is the most of any running back this year.
Yes. Next closest person is $1.5 million less than he.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is making like $3.5 million less than him.
Yeah, he's at the franchise tag, which I think is $10 million this season. Him and Tony Pollard.
Yeah, 10.6.
Yeah. So
God, this goes to show you, if you got kids at home, don't let them grow up and be running backs, ladies and gentlemen. They gotta be receivers
Or quarterbacks.
or quarterbacks. Yeah, but
Gotta
like
be smart,
those are,
though. Don't let those stupid kids try to be quarterbacks. Let's just get this out of here early.
or left tackles.
let me ask you guys, what's you guys' worry meter right now with him?
With who? Saquon?
Yes.
After
0.
the news today, it went from like a 5 to like a 8.2.
So you're worried.
I'm worried. Yeah, he's
Okay.
not going to
Ray.
be fun.
With a team that was, I would say, in contention to be in the running for that division. I don't think they're going to win it, but they're in contention. And with the moves that they've made so far, I don't think they let their best offensive piece not play this season. So they're going to get a deal done.
Okay. What if he misses during training camp? How worried will you be then?
Then it jumps up. Then that meter goes way up.
It's fair.
Because I think this will drag into training camp. So we'll actually have till July 17th to figure out a new contract, if I'm not mistaken, because after that, then it's only going to be the franchise tag he can sign. So
Correct. You
yeah,
are
so-
100% correct.
yeah, so he has till
They
like
have
basically
5 days from
they have-
right
yeah,
now
they-
when we are talking, closer to 4, to figure out
to
what
figure out a deal.
the heck
So
they're going to do.
and he said that he won't play on the. Well, he made it pretty clear that the franchise tag is not what he will play on. So I have 5 days to hash this out, and it's not. Granted, this could be from his team. Kind of saying like, "I'll leak this out there. We're making this clear."
Or to
Put
push
pressure on the
it.
Giants. Yeah, like it makes sense. If he doesn't sign by the next time we record, I'll be pretty concerned.
Yes, then I would be very like. Then my meter goes from like 1 to like 9 right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And my dynasty team took a fat shit because of it. Just a giant shit. I'd be so upset.
And where'd you take Saquon again in that draft?
That was the second round there.
Oh,
fella.
cool.
The 212, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it was a 212 and
Oh.
turned around and took Jahmyr Gibbs right after that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Woof.
All right, guys. I think that pretty much covers us the notes. Let's go ahead. Let's jump straight into who's the one. I think, Brendan, we're going to let you narrate most of this.
Okay.
Ray and I will sit back and kind of questions. I know I have a couple, but you're pretty thorough about getting stuff up.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let me get near this guy. So the first 2 players I have for who's the one will be Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. So let me ask you, Aaron, who's the one there?
Deep down in my soul, I know it's going to be Calvin. Got all the hype around it. Okay. But in my mind, in my heart, because I love Kirk, his jersey's on the wall over here for my wife. Can't get my hands to work. But Christian Kirk will end up finishing the season in high in sight as the one. Look at target percentage, targets.
Alrighty.
He's upset.
Aaron, I'm gonna need you to fix your mic here when you get the chance here. So Ray, I'm gonna go to you here. Who is the one between Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley?
So to clarify, Aaron was saying, because I know that his mic's having a little technical difficulty there. He was saying that Christian Kirk is going to be the one. I didn't hear the reason why, but I'll give you the reason why I think Calvin Ridley is going to be the one. So on a team with Matt Ryan, I want to ask you guys and the viewership at home, who currently would you say would be better? Not currently, but who would you say is better? This year's Trevor Lawrence or 2020 Matt Ryan?
I mean, I said
2020 Matt Ryan. No, this year's Trevor Lawrence. Sorry.
Let's say it's this year's Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, so I think Calvin Ridley has a better quarterback.
Okay.
I think that Calvin Ridley has something to prove. I think that he doesn't have Julio to compete with. He's past his anxiety. He doesn't have a gambling problem anymore. And I really like Doug Peterson's offense. So I really like Calvin Ridley, and I think his ceiling right now is a top 5 receiver. His ceiling. I think that he's going to finish most likely in the he's going to be in the discussion to be a receiver 1, just not a top 5. I don't think that he's got that guy. I think Christian Kirk is going to take some volume. They're going to figure something out with Evan Ingram. I think he's still in that franchise tag contract, but they're going to figure something out. That running game is going to be pretty nice. They're going to have a 1-2 punch, and they've said it. So I think that his ceiling right there is going to be a receiver 1 for Calvin Ridley.
Fair enough. I think so. Here are the stats. So Christian Kirk last year with Trevor Lawrence had 84 receptions, 1,108 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And Calvin Ridley's last full season, where he missed 2 games, even that's the 16-game season, mind you, not a 17-game, was 90 receptions, 1,374 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I am fully invested in Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley will come and immediately be demanding targets. I think it's going to take some time in a couple games, but I think after, like, I would say like week 3, week 4, you'll see a pretty decent amount of like target share volume. Like I would say at least 25% will go to Calvin Ridley. I think people forget how good Calvin Ridley was.
No,
Calvin Ridley was in the talks of he was in the talks of being a top 5 receiver back in 2020. Like he was that 5th guy when everyone was mentioning. So I'm all in on Calvin Ridley, but for me, I would say for you guys who do like 3 wide receiver leagues, you should have Christian Kirk be your wide receiver 2 or 3 even. He's someone he's falling pretty drastically in drafts.
So I've been a lot of best ball, a lot of mocks when we're doing things, and I'm mocking on my own about you guys. I've been Calvin Ridley's going anywhere from as early as 4.5 to 4.10. Don't really see him past the 4.10 spot. Typically 4.7, 4.8 is that sweet spot for him. So I've been stacking 3 receivers, then going in the 4th and 5th rounds, getting the 2 running backs that I'm comfortable with. Then 6th round, I'm scooping up for my flex wide receiver at this point in time, Christian Kirk. So that's kind of how I'm building my drafts, and that's kind of how I'm seeing it work. That's how I'm like, yes, like I said, I do believe that Calvin Ridley, with just his sheer potential, how great he was before he took off, is more than likely going to be the one. But in my heart, my argument is Christian Kirk going to end up with more targets, probably a little bit better catch to yardage ratio, maybe not as touchdowns, but I think that they're both going to be very fantasy viable for that purpose.
Fair enough. And so for the viewers at home, Calvin Ridley's going about 43 and Christian Kirk's going about 73. So it's about a 3-round difference.
Good value, Calvin. I like your take on Christian Kirk going as your flex. I really like that. That's going to be a nice addition if you can get that to go. I don't know if I'm going to have a share of Calvin Ridley going into like redraft season. I don't think I'm going to, because I feel like
go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like his price is going to probably go as high as like the beginning of the 3rd, and that's too rich for my blood right now.
The training camp hype's gonna definitely not help.
Training camp hype will always be a fun one for rankings.
But if somehow you can miraculously be sitting in like the 3 hole and take Christian McCaffrey as your first running back, and someone goes Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, whatever order you want, then you get Christian McCaffrey at the 3. I'm perfectly fine with coming back at the 4.8, 4.9, wherever you're at, and taking Calvin Ridley right there. If he stays there, knowing that you have Christian McCaffrey in the 1st round.
In the 4th round, I'm perfectly happy with it. In the 3rd round, it starts getting a little dicey.
Yeah, I think in the 3rd round, you drafted more at his ceiling for this year than at a value. So, anyways.
Fair enough. On to the next one, guys. So, next one, we're going down to the NFC South with the Atlanta Falcons. Who's the one between Kyle Pitts and Drake London? Ray, we go first.
Off, Ray.
I like Drake London. I really do. The hype is real. I really like him. I want to share, but I feel like, again, he's going to be priced out of whatever roster, because I think he's going in the 5th right now. And again, I think I can find better value in the 5th, 6th than Drake London right now.
He's going 55th overall.
Oh, even higher.
55th overall?
Yes.
Man, I did a mock like the beginning of last week, or maybe middle of last week. He went in the 5th, so I can see it climbing some more. They've definitely been camp hype.
Yeah, so Kyle Pitts is going 60th, so he's only 5
Really?
spots ahead of him.
My math's not very good.
So Aaron, who is the one?
I'm with Ray. I like Drake London. Tight end wise, yes, Kyle Pitts was drafted at what, number 5 overall?
4th.
4 overall. And then Jamar Chase went 5, right? That's the same draft class. Yes.
Yes.
Goes number 4 overall, but I'm going to put it this way. Kyle Pitts is no Travis Kelce as of yet, so he's not the number 1 in the top. He might emerge as that eventually, but we haven't seen it yet. Arthur Smith likes to run the ball, and then when they do throw it, I think Drake London taking a step this second year here, he's going to emerge, and he's going to be that one in that offense.
Alrighty. So for clarification here, last year Kyle Pitts had 28 receptions for 356 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mind you, he had possibly one of the worst quarterbacks throwing him the ball.
By the way, go check it out on Netflix now. It's called Quarterback. He's featured on that. So
yes, he is. I can't wait to watch. I've heard great things already.
I know. I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done.
Drake London had 72 receptions, 866 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Mind you, I think Desmond Ridder is maybe an upgrade over Marcus Mariota. I think passing wise, yes. Yeah. But at the end of the year, I am actually going to be devil's advocate here. I actually like Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts has shown his rookie season what he can do. He had over 1,000 yards, and maybe it's why I'm the thrill of the chase. I do love Drake London. I think Drake London's great. But this is Desmond Ridder's first full season, so he is. I don't know if you can count him a rookie. I don't know if I would do that. This will be his second year, so I don't want to say though that, but I think Kyle Pitts will be featured a lot more. I don't think you take someone 4th overall and not feature him. I know they have Bijan there too. They're going to run the ball, but I think Kyle Pitts can be very much of a safety blanket for Desmond Ridder. I think Drake London's great, but I
will also say Drake London was 9th overall.
He was 8th
or 8th. Yeah, he was 8th.
Yes. Yeah, so
he wasn't that far behind him.
Yeah, this team has invested heavily in the wide receivers. I wish they just invested in quarterback.
But Bijan went, what, 5th overall too?
8th, 9th.
Imagine.
Bijan went 9th? So they went 3 years in a row with
yes, they've done 3 years in a row. Yes.
On offense? Dang.
Yes.
So
imagine.
I will say this. Redraft, I am taking Drake London. But to your point, Brennan, if it comes down to dynasty, it is 100% and best ball, Kyle Pitts all day, just because Travis Kelce's going to retire soon, right? So there's going to be that new regime, upper echelon, tight ends. Mark Andrews we're seeing emerge as that. He's been emerged as the top 3 perennial tight end the last years. So I do think that Kyle Pitts can and will. He's just the athleticism, his crazy freak ability is going to make him eventually, when he does get a competent quarterback in that spot, where he's in that conversation of Kyle Pitts is getting drafted 1st, 2nd, 3rd round.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, boys. We're going to move it over to the running backs here. So we're going to go to the NFC North, you guys' division. We have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So, Aaron, who is the one there?
Oh. When you say one, do you mean one is who gets the higher snap count, or one is who scores more fantasy points?
Well, we care about fantasy, so who gets the most fantasy points?
David Montgomery, just because he's going to get the goal line work. Touchdowns count more than receptions, brother. Sorry, Ray, I see your face, but if you're a 20 yard line to 20 yard line back, doesn't matter how many receptions you score if that dude's scoring 3 or 4 touchdowns. Look at last year with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams.
No, I get you. I'm not knocking your take at all. I think that's a valid
like it either, but
that's a valid mindset. But remember when DeAndre Swift was healthy?
Here we go.
And Jamal Williams was there? Do you remember that? And what I think that Jahmyr Gibbs might be better than DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I traded for DeAndre Swift, and he did absolutely dog shit.
It'd be like
after that.
It'd be like that. But I'm telling you, man, they didn't spend all that damn capital, and they weren't that hyped to get a guy they're going to split carries with David Montgomery. Ain't going to happen. I think he's going to get the goal line work.
Well. They paid David Montgomery to come in, knowing that they were going to draft Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think that he's going to get the goal line work. But David Montgomery.
Okay. I thought you were talking Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think that Jahmyr Gibbs has that home run ability. And in a PPR format, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Sorry about that technical difficulty, guys. I don't know what's going on with this Streamlab right now. Weird, really weird. But or StreamYard. Go ahead, Aaron. You were going to tell us about how David Montgomery is the bee's knees, please.
No, I was just stating that every time we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, for you specifically, Ray, I've noticed this. It's always in the PPR format. Not everyone plays in the PPR format, Ray.
I get that.
If that's like the hinge or the linchpin of your argument, I'm pulling that thing out and I'm just watching it crumble. All right, David Montgomery will be the one strictly because he's going to get the more valuable touches. Why I believe in Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think that he's going to be awesome. And I do hope that they line him up in the slot because they need someone other than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think that it's necessarily going to happen.
Want to know why I was smiling so much?
Why were you smiling so much, Ray?
Would you like to make a beer bet?
On what? Fantasy points to the finish?
Yes.
Half point or full point?
Let's go half point. I'll go half point with you.
Oh, good God. All right. I bet you, Ray, that David Montgomery finishes with more fantasy football points in half-point scoring format than Jahmyr Gibbs. All right.
Bunch of tards here, but yes,
Brandon.
if I had to pick between the two, if it's half point PPR league and some leagues that I play in, I definitely like Montgomery because he's going 80th overall compared to Gibbs at 36 overall. Now, if it's a full PPR, I definitely like Gibbs. I think Gibbs will definitely be featured in that offense. Now, I think I'm split. Like I said, I think half PPR, I'm all in on Montgomery. Yeah, full PPR, I'm in on Gibbs, so I'm split there. So my next question to y'all is, who is the one in the Chicago backfield between Deontay Foreman, Roschon Johnson, and Khalil Herbert?
Sorry, I can't deal with this.
I think it's Deontay Foreman. I think it is.
I do too. I think it's Deontay Foreman. He's probably just as good of a runner as Khalil Herbert. He's bigger. He's probably a little more explosive, and he's better at pass protection and third down situations than Khalil Herbert is. So that's just
fair enough. For me, actually, it's Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson was the backup to Bijan Robinson at Texas University. He's a rookie running back. He's going very late. I think he will be way more talented than Khalil Herbert. For one, this GM did not draft Khalil Herbert. He brought in Deontay Foreman, and he specifically drafted Roschon Johnson because he believes the talent is right there, right next to Bijan. So I think it's going to be a little bit, but I think at the end of the year, we will see that Roschon will be the RB1 in snaps.
Yeah, at the end of the year, 100%. I agree. I'm not arguing with you on that one. But I think at the beginning of the year, he's not going to get on the field strictly for most rookie running backs struggle and pass pro their first year.
All righty. And then on to the next one. It's actually more of an interesting one because it's the rookie. We have Zachary Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker III.
It's Ken Walker. And I can't listen to Zach Cabernet taking snaps from Ken Walker, which was just absolutely electric last season.
It is Ken Walker, but by a small margin.
Fair enough. I actually think Zachary Charbonnet can beat him out. I think Zachary Charbonnet is more talented. Yes, you heard me.
I know Matt Jenkins when you need him.
Right? Where's Matt Jenkins at now? Listen to this man. Look at this slander.
Kenneth Walker was great. Don't get me wrong. I think, look at his stats were last year were 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 27 receptions, 165 yards. Charbonnet is the better pass catcher. Can we not agree on that?
Sure.
No, don't even.
Yes, but I don't know if it's like that. I don't know if it's like that different.
I think it's very different.
They seem like the same running back, honestly.
Except by the metrics of what Kenneth Walker was doing, he was actually one of the worst runners in the NFL. By the metrics,
home run every time.
Yes, and that's where his problem is. And I think Zachary Charbonnet can actually be a difference maker in that aspect.
You're too explosive. You suck.
Exactly.
You hit too many home runs. Get on the bench, kid. No, I see where you're coming from. They didn't draft the guy for no reason. I feel like it's going to be a lot closer than what I want it to be, what everybody wants it to be. I think it's going to be more than like a 60-40 split. I still think it's Ken Walker's job. You know, I don't think that Zach's coming in and taking that job, you know, day one. But, I mean, camp hype has been out of control for Zach right now. Out of control. So,
I'm on the train. I'm on the hype train, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Late round ad.
Yes. So the next one here, we're in the same division. We have who is the wide receiver 1 for San Francisco? Is it Brandon Ayuk or is it Deebo Samuel?
All right. So I'm going to cut in here. Ayuk or Deebo Samuel. On this particular program, you will find all three of us think Ayuk is going to be the number 1. There's no debating it. Everyone, we're all down on Deebo. I think Deebo gets more hype than potentially that he should, and the Niners fans are going to come out of the woodworks, but only because he's gotten so much run at running back. But now that Christian McCaffrey is there and he gets pushed back into a more receiver-ready role, I do not think that he's going to be as good as he was. Yes, is he going to be good? Probably. But I think Ayuk finally takes that step forward now that he's not in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse and can actually practice all training camp and get the reps in him that he needs to. He's going to emerge as a budding superstar. And if you get him late in drafts or later in drafts at a way better value than Deebo, you're going to be very happy.
We are a very pro Brandon Ayuk show here at Franchise Tag. So let's go ahead and stamp that right there. I'm with that. I like that. So,
okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be devil's advocate for that. I do like Deebo, but I think Brandon Ayuk is a special talent. He's going 69th overall, so I think he's.
There's something with the number where he's going.
Yeah,
69.
And Deebo's going 38th overall. I think if I'm going to draft someone in the beginning of the third compared to the beginning of the fifth, where I think the person can outperform it, I'm not going to bother with it. Now, I do think Deebo slides in a lot of drafts. I do see him creeping up towards the fourth, and I do think it's kind of slanderish because he is talented. People forget that he's a very talented wide receiver, and so he's just not going to run a lot, but he can still catch the ball, and he's very great in the open field.
Yards after catch, he's crazy.
Yeah,
he's wild. I will say Brock Purdy is on track right now. News as of what I saw today on TikTok. That
that's
Brock
where
Purdy is
news from now. TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's the news source for the world. That he is on track to be the starter for week 1. So take that for what it is. Brandon Ayuk to the moon, please.
All righty. The next one we have here is from the NFC East. We have the Washington Commanders backfield of Antonio Gibson or Brian Robinson. Who is the one, Aaron?
Oh man, I absolutely adore it.
Your mic's cutting out there again.
I'll start, Aaron. Can I literally not take either one of them because I don't want any part of the Commanders' offense except for Terry McLaurin?
You have to choose.
There's a gun to your head. Pick one.
Antonio Gibson.
Okay.
Because he's a pass catcher, because he's supposed to be so electric, and he's supposed to be this. He was supposed to be Christian McCaffrey 2 seasons ago. I have to take Antonio Gibson. But do I want to?
I'm taking Antonio Gibson as the number 1 here. Yeah, they drafted Brian Robinson last year. Yeah, he had a little bit of setback from getting shot twice. But it's not funny, Ray.
Jesus, Ray.
He had a little setback. He only got shot twice.
I mean, and he came back and played, but Antonio Gibson to me is the better all-around back. He's finished top 10, number 1 fantasy running back 2 of 3 years. Ron Rivera hasn't used him properly any of the seasons he's been in the NFL and on the Washington Commanders. Dude came out of Memphis, was a slot receiver, got converted to running back. Now he's proven that he can do it. Plus, as you said, pass catching.
I just like how you call him Riviera.
Rivera.
Riverboat Ron, man. Riverboat Ron.
Thanks.
I, too, am also on Antonio Gibson. I think Antonio Gibson and half-point PPR and full-point PPR is the better play. I believe they're being drafted right next to one another in the late 90s, early 100s, or a little bit before that. So I think Antonio Gibson's ceiling is way higher than Brian Robinson's because they both had 3 touchdowns. Actually, it looks like, yes, they both had 3 touchdowns. So, and we have 2 more here. The last one of the last 2. We have who's going to be the one in the Kansas City wide receivers? Ray?
It's Kadarius Toney for me. It is. He's a late round target for me. I really like Toney. I really like his ability with the ball in his hands. He's a freak athlete. But I feel like I know at least one of your answers.
I'm pleading the 5th on this one.
Really?
I don't know, and I don't want any pass catcher outside of Travis Kelce.
Fair enough. I actually think it's going to be Sky Moore.
I would
think
probably be on Brendan's train there too.
I think Sky Moore is. So I think people forget that he struggled last season. They put him as a punt returner, and he was awful. And he fumbled against us in the Colts game. It cost them one of the reasons why they lost. But I think Sky Moore has just gotten better. I know they took Rashee Rice, but you got to remember, Patrick Mahomes is the guy that wanted him. Patrick Mahomes also wanted Clyde Edwards-Helaire too, and look how that worked out for him. So I think in the end game, I think Sky Moore can lead this team in targets purely because of, I think Kadarius Toney is very talented. I think he's up there with Tyreek Hill in regards to athleticism. I think him and Tyreek Hill are literally one and two. The problem with Kadarius Toney is he can't stay healthy. So if I'm going to gamble, I want to gamble on somebody that I think is going to stay healthy and be on the field at all times and potentially lead the team, be second in the team in targets. I shouldn't say first because that's Travis Kelce.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I'm with what you're saying. I really like Toney.
Yeah,
I think
no,
he's a goon.
he's the grand slam swing. Here, if you're swinging for the fences, that's the guy you want out of anybody. Now, if you want a nice little single, I think Sky Moore is the play. So the last one here I have here is Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams. This was brought by Aaron.
This was brought to me by someone who watches the show. I was like doing a mock draft. He's like, what would you rather have? Would you still take Amon-Ra, or do you still value Amon-Ra the same, knowing Jameson Williams coming back? This is prefaced on when he gets back. Obviously, Amon-Ra is going to be the number one through before he gets back, but I still think, but I still think Amon-Ra is the number one even after he gets back. You saw it last year. As a rookie, Jameson Williams once again missed a bunch of games. Granted, this one was for an ACL, but when he came back, he was the home run play. He was the deep ball guy, a couple targets a game. And I don't think that changes this year, too, with having to be out of the facility for training camp and missing 6 weeks worth of football. I don't think you see the true Jameson Williams at this point in the NFL until towards the end of this year, beginning of next season, if he can keep the train on the tracks for once. I'm going the sun god himself, Amon-Ra. He's the number one to me. I think he's a rare talent. He has done everything to remind me of what Cooper Kupp is currently. Everything. So maybe they upgrade a quarterback eventually, and now he's playing with somebody other than Jared Goff, which I don't think Jared Goff's bad, but maybe he's playing with somebody better than that in the future. And we're like, hey, Amon-Ra is a top 5 fantasy pick in 2026. That's what I think he could be. That's how talented I think Amon-Ra really is.
Yeah, fair enough. I think Amon-Ra is the one. I don't think it's even a debate. I think Jameson Williams going at 115th overall though is kind of interesting. If you've stashed enough like solid receivers and you want to take a swing at somebody like that, that's worth gambling on, because I think he was taken in the first round. I think this guy has tremendous talent. So, but at the end of the day, it's Amon-Ra, and I still think Amon-Ra is even slightly undervalued where he's going in regular redrafts right now. He's the top 20, so I think he's shown that he can be the guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Amon-Ra guy though, so I'm the worst person to ask. I'm just going to be the homer for Amon-Ra for the rest of his career.
Probably.
But yeah,
probably. All right,
is that
guys.
all we got?
That's all we got. So please, the bottom in the comments, let us know what you guys think about those. Let us know if you have any other ones that you have brought to mind. I have one on the spot. Who's the one? Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby?
Travis Etienne. It's not even close.
It'll be Tank Bigsby at the end of the season.
That's not Ray. I'll do a beer bet with you right now.
I won't take that bet, but I want to say it out loud.
Oh, do it!
I won't take that bet.
No,
I want to stay
take
undefeated against Brendan this season.
I take bets on purpose for content. You take bets just so you can be, I want a beer bet.
No, I took one with you earlier that I'm probably going to lose, but I want to stay undefeated against Brendan. I feel like I have a good shot. We're keeping track here. I'm going to be undefeated. I'm going to be hammered at the end of the season.
Oh, God.
We'll see. All right, guys. As always, please be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe. Go check out Fantasy Football Advice Forum. That's where you can ask these style questions and real life humans will answer. Who knows? Could be me, Ray, or Brendan that answers over there. But till next time, we'll see you later.